Hi everyone, this is Suzanne Jones. Thanks for stopping by Love and Pieces. This is my YouTube channel for crafting and all things creative. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know I'm on the couch recuperating from knee replacement surgery. This is my second one this year. And so I've brought things out of my craft room, some simple projects that I could work on here on the couch. Also, because I'm on the couch, I have my cats around me. My husband's in the kitchen cooking supper, so there may be some odd ambient noise. But you know, that's what crafting is for me right now. So welcome onto my journey, as there go our cats. I wanted to share with you what I did with the November 2023 paper pumpkin kit from Stampin' Up. And this is called Warm Wishes. This was the kit that could make 8 little house-sized, house-shaped treat boxes. And I really thought they were cute, but I knew I would need more than that. I need 11 for my family. And so I thought about ordering an extra kit and then just decided the October kit coordinated with this to make cards. So I just waited until I got both to see if I would need another kit, if I could use those parts and pieces together to come up with what I needed. And that's what I wound up doing. When I looked at the treat box kit, I realized it would be really easy just to cut them apart and make them into 16 on their own. So that left me the whole card kit to be able to put together as Christmas cards, extra Christmas cards, and so I did that in another video. This is just on the treat boxes and how I turned 8 into 16. So thank you for stopping by. I always think that the things that I do with my crafting are not that unique. They're not unusual or earth-shattering, but hopefully it helps someone think about using what they've got in a different way to meet their needs. And I'm all about using up our scraps, digging in the scrap bin, not opening a brand new pack of anything until you've used up the scraps of packs previously opened. So that's what today is going to be. Let me set this aside and kind of show you a little bit of what the kit looked like. It came with 2 different styles of pre-printed, pre-scored templates or die cuts, I guess you could call them, that you folded and put together, and it made this cute little triangular treat box. If you've watched my other videos, you also know I've not had a camera set up before, but now I've got my tripod rigged and my camera up there, and so I'm trying to learn how to do this actually in the camera lens. We'll see how that goes. But this is one of the houses that you could put together, and as you see, it's double-sided, and so I thought I could easily cut this apart and just use the printed pieces and recreate the triangular piece base on my own. So that's what I did. I just measured them up to see where I would need them, how long I would need it, and where I would need to score it to be able to put these house pieces onto plain cardstock. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Let's start with the blue one. This is what I consider the first one. It's the first one I did. So the blue one, I needed a piece of cardstock that is 9 inches by 3 3/4. So I went to my scrap bin and I had this paper. It's not Stampin' Up paper. If you can tell, it's kind of got a texture in it. Not really sure where it came from, but I've got a lot of it, and so I want to use it up. So the first thing I need to do, flip that over to get ready to trim, is I need to trim this down to 9 inches. Lay that scrap aside, it'll go back in the bin. And before let me flip this back over, because before I cut the other direction, I want to go ahead and score it. That way it's already scored on both sides and I don't have to score it twice. So for this piece, now remember, here's my 9-inch, and this is, I'm not sure what it is. I think it's probably like 8. It was an odd size piece of paper. That's why it hasn't wound up being card bases. But on my 9-inch side, I'm going to score it at 3 1/2, then at 5, and then at 8 1/2. And this is going to be kind of the front, the middle, the back, and then this is the little flap that's going to hold our roof. So now that it's scored, I can go ahead and cut my other direction. Put this back over to cutting. I'm getting used to this dual board, the score and cut. It's the first time I've had one, and I kind of like it. It does take a minute to get used to. But I need to cut this now at 3 3/4. And let's see, I've got that all out of focus. Sorry, you're not seeing the, where is it? It's too far up. There we go. Maybe that's it. Now I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4. And I can get 2 pieces out of this one odd shaped sheet, and just got a little bit of a scrap laying there. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut, that was a blue sheet for my blue house, and this is kind of a yellow sheet for the yellow house. Now I do think this is Stampin' Up paper, but I have no idea what color it is because it did come out of kind of my scrap bin, or kind of the scrap side of my paper holder. And so I think it's probably a retired color if it is Stampin' Up. And this one, I'm going to leave it at 11 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and score it at, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and score this at 4 1/4. So 4 1/4. Then at 5 3/4. And then at 10 1/4. 10 1/4. It's going to give me my leftover for the top fold over flap here. Then I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to cut it at 3 3/4, and I will get 2 pieces out of it. So 3 3/4, 3 3/4. Yep. So now all of the pieces are scored. I've got a couple pieces of scrap, but they'll go back in my bin, and I use those for sentiments or backers or banners or a lot of different things. And I can actually put my score cutting board away. We're done with it. Now the rest is very simple. Let me move these pieces over. Oh, no, sorry. No, I think I'm going to do these with scissors. So with the houses, cutting them apart, I tried using my trimmer. I tried using scissors. It was kind of a guessing game which did better, because these edges aren't smooth, so I couldn't butt them up against my trimmer to be able to get good cuts. With my scissors, I had to be careful not to get kind of awkward. I'm not a very good straight cutter, but I think I can do this these pretty easy. I'm just cutting the houses apart on the bottom fold, like so. And then I also need to cut off the extra rooftop that was a fold, the part that folded over on the original one. So there's those 2 houses. Lay my parts aside. And then here's the blue house. Let me cut it. And then the other piece at the bottom. And lastly, the little top that was the fold over. Now, the extra rooftops, you're not going to need those. You can use them, find some other way to use them if you want to. I'm using just the house fronts that I cut apart. Now, where the houses join, where the roof joins the house, there's a little decorative edge that looks like green garland. I'm actually going to have to sacrifice that because I need to cut the roof off so that it can be part of the fold over. So I'm actually cutting kind of on the top part of the green where it meets the white, and I'm preserving the green onto the blue piece, and you'll understand that in a minute. I'll get this cut and then I'll show you. Like so. So the green stayed more on the house part, and the roof didn't get as much of the green. I tried to take it off of there. It doesn't matter if there's some left, but I'll do these other 2 really quickly for you. It comes apart really easy. It's not hard to do because we're going to actually cover up any differences that are there. Now this one's a little bit more tricky because it's scalloped, and the first couple I did, I tried to preserve that scallop. It doesn't really come across in the finished product, so I'm not going to panic about it. I'm going to try to, but I know for certain that it's not going to look so scallopy on the finished product because I've played with this, and this is actually my last one of each kind that I saved to do on camera because I don't think about filming first. I guess I'm not a content creator. I'm a creator that does content because I always seem to think of filming it afterwards. So I'll lay those off to the side. We'll be using those to create it. Now let me pull up, like I said, we're going to work on the blue ones first. So these are the pieces that I scored, and we're just going to fold them. You don't have to use your bone folder. This isn't hard, crisp creases that you need. We're just going to fold it into that triangular piece with a little bit of a flap. Now, go ahead and fold both of them. I'll do both of them so they'll have a moment to dry while we work on the other one, and then we can embellish. But now I'm taking my My Sweet Petunia Precision Glue Press. I've done an unboxing on this, and I think I keep saying I'm going to come back and do a review because I really, really like it. And I've learned some tips with it since I've had it, but I really do like it. So anyway, I'm taking one of the roof pieces and just right along the top, just laying down a little bit of a glue. Now, I only have a small amount on that flap, so I don't want to get crazy with it. And here on that folded flap, I'm just going to attach my roof. Now, when I measured this blue cardstock, what I'm calling the base, I made it just a quarter, maybe even just 1/8 of an inch smaller than what the house was, so it hides behind it. So I'm centering, everything I do, I'm centering it on that piece of cardstock, but I know it snugs in behind it just a little bit. So there's the roof. There we go. There's the roof. Now on the bottom part, against this bottom fold, we're going to put the house. So again, using my glue, I'm not going to go all the way to the sides because the paper doesn't go that far, but I'm going to go all the way to the top and bottom and lay in a squiggle of glue. And this is what I like about My Sweet Petunia. Or the glue press, I guess I should call it. I have a heavy hand both with my ink and with my glue, and I'm always putting too much. This lets you just scribble out the smallest little line, snail trail of glue, and it is perfect for card projects. I've not been over gluing as much as I used to. There we go. So again, I'm just centering it. I'm putting it down near the bottom and not exactly against the bottom. I'm leaving just enough of a lip so that this doesn't the house doesn't interfere with the fold. If you put it right on it, you know, then it might not sit pretty or it might have a wonky edge. So I wanted to leave, I don't know, maybe an 1/8 of an inch. I'm not good at guesstimating. Just enough that my house is not touching the fold or the bottom. So we'll put that down and let that dry for a second and repeat it for the other one. These come together really quickly. I think I've spent more time just waiting on stuff to dry because I put some embellishments on in the wrong order, and I'll do them right for y'all. So again, the little rooftop. I'm almost doing the opposite on the rooftop. I'm bringing it right up to the fold because I kind of want it to hide the fold on the back side. So it goes almost right up to the fold. But the house sits just a little bit above it. I don't know if y'all have already worked up your kits or if you were saving them. Sometimes with Paper Pumpkin, I tend to put them back and just kind of wait till a mood strikes me or I kind of want to play with them. Other times, like a few times here since I've been out of my craft room, as soon as they hit my hands, I open them up and I'm ripping into them. That's what I did with the December kit that looks like dandelions. I ripped that thing open and I've already started cutting them apart with ideas of what I'm going to do on them. But the November and December, or the October and November kits came while I was actually in between my surgeries, and I was doing really well. So I was up and moving around and getting a lot of stuff done and trying to get ready for my next surgery. So I didn't have a lot of crafting time. So these I kind of held on to. As close as it is to Christmas, some of y'all may have already put these together, but maybe it'll help you, those of you who held on to them or those who will need them for next year. So there we go. We're going to work on it a little bit more, but I'm going to set these aside to dry. But you can see that the roof just folds back over the top, comes back into alignment with it. And the only difference is ours is one-sided instead of two. But we've got our cute little house back. So set those aside, let them dry, and let's do the yellow one. It goes together the exact same way with just one modification. And go ahead and fold the two bases. And again, you don't have to use your bone folder on these because they kind of stand up. They don't have to be a real crisp, tight fold. All right, so this one, the difference is the line of the roof. It has a slanted roof. So when I go to put it on, you'll see there's extra of the backing sticking out on either side. So I'm just going to, like the other one, I'm going to center it. I'm going to let that stick off. But I'm going to do the houses first. Both of the houses, or both of the roofs first, sorry. I've gone back and looked at some of my videos, and y'all, it's embarrassing how many times I say the wrong thing. So forgive me, and thanks for hanging around instead. I've said it before. I promise I'll get better. I just can't promise you when. And in all honesty, I misspeak in real life a lot. So that may just be me. All right. Let me get this up here where I can kind of see it. Maybe you can see it. There goes the second roof. Just pressing it on. I like the liquid glue. Anytime I'm doing something like this that's what I call structural, it's actually just making something more than gluing a piece of paper to a card or something. I like to use liquid glue. I think it's stronger. Plus it gives you some wiggle time, but you do need a minute for it to glue, especially if you're going to have to cut or do anything else on it, and we're going to have to do that to this one. So now I'm ready to do the bottom of this house, the actual base. And again, don't go all the way to the sides because our paper's not going to go that. It's going to sit just right behind it. But I like to go all the way to the top so that the top and bottom have a good bead of glue on them. And then I actually may be running out of glue, but I'm getting that real nice fine bead there across my piece. And again, just barely above the fold, maybe an 1/8 of an inch. Definitely not a 1/4 of an inch. That would be too high, and it'll mess up the angle of your triangle. This is just barely enough for it not to interfere with the bottom. Okay. We'll do the other one. I've got several products in my craft room that I love, several tools, and I keep thinking I'll do a review of them. I did one on the magnets that I use to hold my dies, and I don't know, that didn't resonate with as many people as the paper pumpkin videos do, but I like sharing the things I've found that make my craft room and crafting, I don't know, more fun, more easy, whatever you want to call it, less stressful maybe. And I always stressed myself out with glue because I knew I put too much and squish out the sides. I'm just not very neat with it. That's one reason I can't use the Stampin' Up glue, because it dries tacky and I'm just not neat enough, and I always had glue smushed out everywhere. Okay, now that our houses, this is the same thing, makes that nice cute little triangle fold. Now that they're put together, we're going to do the different piece with this. Because of this angle right here, I need to trim this. So I'm going to fold it because I want to trim the front and the back at the same time. And I'm just going to kind of angle my scissors underneath the edge of my house and just trim off that triangle there. Do the other side. And I'm not cutting the roof. I'm cutting kind of in an angle behind it. So you'll see there's just a smidge of the roof showing on the front. Doesn't bother me. When it opens up, you'll see more anyway because it's not going to lay flat against each other. Now, I'm going to just lay it against the front of my house a little bit. I'm kind of trying to put the roof back together. It doesn't have to match perfectly. We're going to cover up that seam. But what I want to do is just put a little notch down here close to the bottom, if you see that. And I'm going to use that. I'm not worried about the angle matching. I just want to trim it off. Actually, I'm going to go a little deeper. I'm just going to trim off an angle so that it will hide behind there. And a couple of them I didn't measure. I just kind of whacked off a piece and it looked a little weird. So that's why I've started kind of measuring it so I know where the roof is. And it doesn't bother me that those two aren't the exact same. I also tried cutting some of them all at once through the front, the flap, and the back. And it was a little tough and I didn't get good cuts. I wound up trimming them anyway. So I figured why mess with that. So now that you can see, this lines up and everything's hidden. So let's trim our second one. See if I can make that make sense for you again. Because of the slant of the roof, we've got to get rid of that excess. So I'm just going to bring my scissors in and kind of cut at an angle behind the roof of my house. That's kind of a sewing trick. You do that with fabric to reduce bulk sometimes in seams. You tilt your scissors a specific direction and it cuts not flat and down, but kind of back to the back, down into the back. And so you see, I got just a little bit of my roof sticking out there on the back. Very, very little. Then I'll put it over to the front, kind of line it back up just so it looks nice and neat. And then I'll just make a little snip down where the roof kind of fits. And then I do kind of go below the snip. I'm just going to whack this one off for you. And maybe go again this direction. Because we just want that to fit up behind it. It's not going to be seen. And so there's our little treat holders. Now we get to decorate them. This is kind of the fun part. Clear up my space a little bit. Got a trash can attached here to my little table. Kind of got a nice little setup here in my living room, but I'll be glad to get back in my full craft room as well. Okay, now the fun part of decorating. Here is what, let me pull out my box. This has got my parts and pieces in it. I say that all the time. Again, I went to my craft room and just started looking for what I had. These are some red sequin embellishments or bling, if you want to call it. These actually came from the Dollar Tree. I get a lot of kind of stuff at the Dollar Tree for other crafting, and it brings its way in here. I have the little wreaths. These actually came with the kit. They're supposed to go on some of the windows, so I've got a few of those. I've put pop dots on the back of them. So I pulled those out. And then this is the part that's going to help us cover up the seam. I don't know if you can see this. I went through my dies, my Christmas dies. I started looking first at foliage, like for leaves and something that I could put up there to make it look like garland. And then I found this one in my Christmas dies. It's not Stampin' Up. It's a different company. It actually is meant to make a little 3D Christmas tree. But I found a piece of, or a die to cut a piece of greenery that would look like the wreaths or the garland that we cut off. So I would say to you, look in your craft stash, look in your die cuts, look in all your different Christmas pieces. See if you have something that looks like garland. Now, it doesn't have to be all one piece because I'm actually going to tear this apart and put it down in different layers to get that kind of gnarly look that garland has. But I've cut out a whole bunch of those. I've got those laying off here to the side. The other thing you could do, I have a crafty friend who shares her stuff with me, and she had given me, let me set this down. She had given me a bunch of these little Christmas wreaths. They're actually like plasticky kind of stuff. She had given these to me last year to use on a project, and I had 4 of them left. I played around with them because I thought I might cut the leaves off, but when I started messing with them, you can work on it, and you find the end somewhere on here. I'm not getting to it. Somewhere there's an end where you can actually unwind them, and you get a long strand of garland. So I did that. I unwound this. It's not coming apart. It's so very easy right now. So take my word for it. You might look at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or wherever you get your craft supplies. And there it goes. There it goes. And see what you could find. You might be able to find something like this that you can unwind and use as garland on that edge. So I'll show you some of those that I used with that. And then I just kind of pulled out some things. I pulled out some other embellishments. I used the glitter glue that came with the card kit. I call it glitter glue. It's probably just glitter, you know, adhesion. You just pump it out and it sticks onto your cards. But I used that on this project to actually highlight my garland. So let me put these aside. I was going to kind of make one of these and show you, but I think you've got the gist of how you put it together. And then to decorate it, let me show you what I did. So this is, let me start with this one. This is one of the blue houses. And this has that wired garland that I undid from the wreath. See if I can get some angles on there. And then I put some little rhinestones on it. They're not very big, and I'm big and gaudy. I like good size bling. So I wasn't quite as pleased with those. That's why I went with the bigger bling. But I just glued, I did use a little bit of hot glue, and I glued this garland onto the roof and then added the rhinestones onto it. The only other thing I didn't show you is I used Velcro to seal them closed, to make them close, because I know I'm going to be putting stuff in this, and I know my family's going to be opening it and playing with it. They like to do that. So I thought the Velcro would make it easier for them. So all of them are closed with just a couple Velcro dots underneath the roof. I get those at Dollar Tree as well. Those are really sticky and they're a really good product. So that's all I did with this one. I used a couple of the wreaths out of the kit and just popped it up on pop dots onto the windows to give a little extra dimension. But that's got the bling and the garland. I used the glitter glue, for lack of a better word, on the garland to add some dimension to it so it sparkles as well. So that's the garland with the wire. This is from the die cut. I just cut out a bunch of green from that die cut. And now that it's dry, I'm coming back and I'm just kind of picking up the ends. I don't want it to lay flat. I want it to kind of be messy and pokey-uppy and all sorts of things. So that's what I've been doing to them now that they're good and dry. But I just glued that down. I put down a layer underneath and let that dry. And then I came back and put another layer on top. So I've got some good dimension. And I kind of tried to make sure that the little garland pieces didn't completely overlap. Like I wanted them to go in the spaces of each other or be going the opposite way. So in real life, it's got some really cute lift and dimension to it. And then this is those bigger rhinestone pieces. So let's see if I can turn it this way. Get a good look. I don't know if that's going to be upside down on YouTube or not. This whole video may be upside down on YouTube. We'll see when we get it posted. So here is the second house. Exact same thing, just using, this is the one that, you know, had the scallop, and I said you kind of lose the scallop when you put it together. I couldn't keep that nice scalloped look with my garland, so I just didn't worry about it. But again, use the glitter glue to add some sparkle to the garland so that it matches some of the rest of the house. The wreaths are popped up on pop dots, and then use the rhinestones to embellish. And then I had a piece of silver that I thought was going to be a really cute like garland. And so I just added it to this, but I only had enough to do 2 houses, maybe 3, I think. So I just used it on a couple. So they're all kind of different. I didn't have enough wreaths to put them on every single house, on every single window. This side of the original card had the wreaths printed on it, and what they gave you were supposed to put on the other side of the card. So half of my treat boxes already had a wreath in the window. It was just flat. So I actually put one of the rhinestones on those. I used the silver, the flat silvery ones to be part of the garland, and then I used the bigger rhinestones on the window wreaths to give it some dimension. So I think that's all I really have to show you. Like I said, it's nothing here earth-shattering. I'm going to, it comes with 8 treat bags. Again, I need 16, or well, now I'll need 16. So I'm just going to find some treat bags myself and use them in the middle. You could put any other kind of decorations. There were some banners that came with it that you could stamp. Merry Christmas. I think the stamp set had with love. There was some different ones that you could put tags on with the people's names if you wanted to. These are going to be table sitters, place setting sitters at our Christmas dinner. So I'm just going to set them around the table and everyone will just kind of get whatever's there instead of marking their place. And yeah, that's what I did with this paper pumpkin kit. So I encourage you to go back, look at what you've got, look at your crafty stuff. And when you need something, use what you've got to make it work for you. Like I said, I could have bought another kit and spent another, $10 or $15 on it. But this way I was able to get some things out of my stash, use up some things and parts and pieces that I have, and use the one kit that I got. And hopefully you've gotten some ideas from this as well. Thank you for going along on this journey with me. If this video is upside down, I completely apologize, and thank you for turning your phone around as you watch it. And we'll see how this camera holder goes. I'll get better with it for the next one. Have a great day. I hope you're creative and be nice to people. Bye.